Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. Today I'd like to help you complete your second and third part of the Newborn Skyscale Collection achievement. If you haven't already, do make sure that you've already completed the Skyscale scales portion, and if you haven't, be sure to check out my video on that part of this collection. Today we'll be covering two of the sub-collections necessary for the Newborn Skyscales Collection achievement, and the first of those two is Skyscale Medicine. All we really need to do for the Skyscale Medicine achievement is just to purchase 5 items from some nearby vendors in Dragonfall, but you will need to do some other things before you can get started. Firstly, you'll need to complete 10 events for each one of the 3 paths involved in the Dragonfall meta event. If you haven't participated in this event before, all you really need to do is start at the Pack Command waypoint, and if you look at your map, you can see that there are 3 clear paths from the Pack Command waypoint to each of the other waypoints on the map. So, starting at the Pack Command waypoint, choose one of those paths, and as you approach your first bridge, you should see an area where you can start an event. Speaking with some of the NPCs, you should be able to start the event, and for the most part, you'll just be escorting some NPCs from the Pack Command waypoint to the corresponding waypoint on the other side of the map. Once you do reach the waypoint, it's a good idea to hang around for a while, as some other events will appear around those waypoints, and by completing those, they will count towards the 10 events necessary to complete your achievements. It took me about 2 full meta clears before I had all the events necessary for these achievements, and if you want to speed this process up, you can partially complete certain events and head back to the Pack Command waypoint where you can start another chain of events. If you go this route, just make sure you still have some players that are going to finish the event you're leaving, otherwise you won't get credit. To track your progress on these events, you may want to add them to your watch list, so I'll give the names and what they apply to. Putting out fires is the achievement for the northernmost path, or the Crystal Bloom path. Life in the Underworld is the achievement you'll need for the middle path, or the Almacon path. And you'll need Cutting Weeds for the southernmost path, or the Mist Warden path. With those 3 achievements out of the way, you can now purchase all the items you'll need for the Skyscale Medicine collection. And to do that, in total, you'll need 5,390 Karma, 200 Volatile Magic, 10 Mistborn Motes, and 20 Trade Contracts. You'll get Karma for completing events like the ones you just did for that achievement. You'll get Volatile Magic on any of the Season 4 maps for doing basically anything. Mistborn Motes are the new map currency in Dragonfall, so you can either gather these or get some by completing events. And Trade Contracts are a pretty regular reward from completing some Path of Fire content or looting things in Path of Fire. So as long as you have the currency necessary, you can now head to the Pack Command waypoint, and directly behind that waypoint, you'll see a vendor that you can purchase 2 of the items. First, you can get the Stabilized Brandstorm Flux and the Tincture of Volatile Magic. From here, you can actually just head to the beginning of each one of those 3 paths I was talking about earlier, and just before the first bridge, you should see a Quartermaster. And since we've completed Putting Out Fires, Life in the Underworld, and Cutting Weeds, they'll now sell you the remaining items. You can get Activated Charcoal Paste from the northernmost Quartermaster. On the middle path, you'll be able to pick up your Gravewort Paste, and the southernmost Quartermaster will sell you the Mashed Echinacea. Now that you have all 5 items necessary, you'll just need to head back to Gorik in the same location we found him last time when we were collecting scales. When talking to Gorik, make sure that by talking to him, you've actually updated the collection, and with that part now out of the way, we can move on to treating some 6 Skyscales. Just like with my previous guide, we'll be trying to cut down on waypoints whenever possible, and we'll only be using the core Path of Fire mounts in order to do this. We'll also be using some of the free Skyscales in the map as a workaround for players who don't have any of the Living World Season 3 Masteries, Griffins, or Gliding. After speaking with Gorik, you'll find your first Skyscale on a ledge nearby. Nearby, you should find several Skyscales you can pick up, and after grabbing a Skyscale, you should try and gain some altitude and head north. Remember that each time you land on your Skyscale, you'll be able to gain a little bit more altitude. And once you've made it back out of the area where Gorik was standing, you can now begin to head northwest. Eventually, you'll see a couple of cliff faces with a gap in between them, and on the right-hand side, towards the edge of the cliff, you should find your next Skyscale. From here, get on your skimmer and fall off the cliff, continuing down the same path, but sticking to the right-hand side until you can head north. Be mindful of the surrounding enemies, as you'll need to stay on your skimmer. And once you make your way through the opening to the north, you'll use your skimmer to get through some branded lightning. Take your first immediate left, then just take a right and make your way over to the stone arch. Once in front of the arch, use your springer to climb up on top. And from here, you should see your next skyscale. Get on your Raptor and begin heading north. And as the path you're on begins to deviate, be sure to follow it to the east. Eventually, the path will continue moving to the southeast, and just after the stone arch on your left-hand side, you're going to want to get on your springer and start climbing some cliffs. Continue to head southeast, jumping up some cliffs whenever possible. And when you reach your final cliff, be sure to jump up one more time on the left-hand side. From here, just head back the way you came up on this new platform. And just underneath the giant purple crystal, you should see your next skyscale. Next, head to the Pack Command waypoint, and of the 3 potential paths, go ahead and take the middle path. Once over the bridge, be sure to switch to your springer mount and start jumping up some cliffs on the right-hand side. On the other side of some purple crystals, you'll see another rocky surface that you can jump up on. Rather than taking the free skyscale on top of the rock, you'll instead be using your skimmer mount to make it across the gap and to your next 6th skyscale. From here, you just need to use your springer mount to make it back onto some purple crystals and back up to that free skyscale. Use that skyscale to head south towards a nearby platform. And then continue to use your skyscale to gain altitude until you can continue down the southern path. Follow that path using your skyscale to avoid enemies. And be sure to just follow the road hugging the right-hand side. Make a right turn when you notice some larger tree branches above you. And here you'll see some platforms you can use your skyscale to fly up on, until eventually you can get up on that tree branch and grab your next skyscale. From here, head to Melandru's Lost Domain waypoint, and you want to make your way north out of the camp. We'll be taking the northeastern path, and you'll just want to keep your eye on the left-hand side until you notice an opening. Switch to your springer, and you'll want to use this to climb up the tree and onto the next platform. And once on that platform, before continuing any farther, continue to use your springer to climb up the side of the tree. There are several shrubs in the way of the platforms, but there are plenty of places you should be able to use to get to the next cliff. Once you make it on top, just use your springer to get to the next highest platform on some tree branches, and you'll find your next skyscale. Next, get on your skimmer and make your way southeast off of the trees. And right around where you touch the ground, you'll see another skyscale. Use that Skyscale to head east and make sure you maintain a high enough altitude that you'll reach the topmost platform on the large tree. It's on that platform that you'll find your next Skyscale. Get on your skimmer mount and head back the way you came, west this time. And once you reach the ground, you should see a ramp that'll lead you right back to the Skyscale we just used to get on top of the tree. This time, use the Skyscale to reach a nearby platform so that you can gain some more altitude, and then you should be able to fly directly over to the waterfall. Continue to the back of the waterfall using your Skyscale to jump up on some nearby cliffs. And from here, you should be able to see Kralkatorrik's wing, and we'll need to head there next. Follow the wing to the north until you see some green rocks on your right-hand side, and you'll want to head to those green rocks and through the small opening until that cliff dead ends. From here, you want to gain as much altitude as you can with your Skyscale, almost staying in place but being sure to wrap the right-hand side of the cliff. And the next available green cliff you can land on should have your next Skyscale. From here, get on your skimmer, and you'll just want to free fall back down out of Kralkatorrik's wing. And once you fall out of Kralkatorrik's wing, you can start moving on your skimmer to the east, looking for an opening between two cliffs. Heading in between those two cliffs, you'll see a statue and a small cove, and it's on the right-hand side that you'll see your next Skyscale. Now head to the Burning Forest waypoint, and you'll want to head west from the waypoint using your skimmer to fall down the nearby cliffs. You'll be following the outside perimeter of the map. And once you pass a larger tree and approach some branded crystals, you're going to want to switch to your Springer, and on that ledge you should see your next Skyscale. Continue using your Springer to jump up some cliffs and following the outside perimeter of the map until you make it back on top near the bridge. Head north from the bridge, continuing to use your Springer to get up on some higher cliffs. And once you reach the next highest platform, just hug the right-hand cliff face and follow it until you see a tree. Just past that tree, you'll want to use your Springer to climb up just a bit higher. And once on top of this platform, you'll want to switch to your Jackal and use the nearby Jackal portal. Through the portal, just head east, and on your left-hand side, you'll see a tree, and right next to that tree, you'll find your next Skyscale. From here, just head back towards that Jackal portal, but continue on just a little ways more, as just on a nearby cliff, you'll see a free Skyscale. Use the Skyscale to head north to the next nearest platform. Head north on that platform for a short while. Until you can make a right. And fall down just a few cliffs to find your next Skyscale. On the platform with that Skyscale, you're going to want to head east and follow that platform just about until it dead ends, and then you'll want to head south. Take the first left path and then straighten yourself back out to use your Springer to jump up on some more cliffs. On this next platform, head south until it dead ends. Here you can use your Raptor to jump the chasm, continue heading south, and then take the higher left path. Shortly after, you'll see a tree on your right-hand side. And just before that tree, go ahead and get on your Springer and start heading south up the wall. Once all the way up and on the next platform, you should be able to see your last and final Skyscale right on top of some rocks. And that should wrap up both the Medicine and Fever collections for the Skyscale, or at least the Newborn Skyscale Collection. To anyone out there using this guide to try and get your Skyscale, I hope you found this helpful. Do keep in mind that even if you have more masteries unlocked, you can use those with these routes and it'll just make things that much faster. But as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.